The great hall of the Luminary Council glowed with soft blue light as 12 worried faces looked at each other around the round table. Outside the tall glass windows, 3 moons hung in the purple sky of their homeworld, Lumina. "The reports are confirmed," said First Speaker Trell, his thin fingers tapping on the holographic display. "The Void Dominion fleet has destroyed 3 outer systems. They will reach our borders in 30 days. The council members whispered among themselves. The Luminary were a peaceful race who had not fought a war in over 10,000 years. Their ships were built for science and trade, not battle. What options do we have?" asked Elder Vin, her voice shaking slightly. Trell looked down. "Our defenses will not hold against their weapons. We have already sent messages to our allies, but they are too far to help in time." Silence filled the room until Junior Council Member Pell spoke up. "There is one possibility." All eyes turned to him. "The humans," Pell said quietly. Gasps echoed through the chamber. Elder Vin stood up quickly. "That is not an option. They are Deathworlders. Their very nature is violence." Trell raised his hand for silence. "Pell, explain your thinking." Pell activated his data pad, and an image of Earth appeared above the table. "Yes, humans evolved on a planet that would kill most of us in minutes. Their gravity is crushing, their atmosphere thick with oxygen, their weather extreme, and their wildlife deadly. But these conditions made them strong." He showed images of human ships. "Their fleet is impressive. They have fought and survived their own wars. And our deep space monitors show they have expanded to 17 systems in just 200 years. They are dangerous," argued Elder Vin. "The Galactic Classification Board labeled them as a Class 9 Deathworld species." "Yes," agreed Pell. "But the Void Dominion is destroying peaceful worlds. Perhaps we need dangerous allies." Trell stood up and walked to the window. He looked at the beautiful city below, its crystal towers reflecting the moonlight. Millions of Luminary lived there, none who had ever known war. "Prepare a message," he finally said. "I will speak to the humans myself." 3 days later, Trell sat alone in the communication chamber. The council had argued for hours about what to say, but in the end, they agreed simple truth was best. He adjusted his translator and began recording. "To the people of Earth, I am First Speaker Trell of the Luminary Collective. We are a peaceful civilization of 17 worlds located 340 light-years from your home. We face destruction from an enemy force called the Void Dominion. Our defenses cannot stop them. Our allies cannot reach us in time." Trell paused, knowing the next words might determine the fate of his people. "We know of your reputation as warriors. We know you come from a world that forged you in harsh conditions. We have seen how quickly you have spread among the stars. Some fear you for these qualities." He leaned closer to the recorder. "But today, we hope these same qualities might save us. We are sending our star charts and all information about the Void Dominion with this message. We can offer advanced technology and resources in exchange for your help." Trell felt a weight on his shoulders as he finished. "This is a request for assistance from one civilization to another. We are sending this SOS with hope that you will answer. We have 30 days before the first attacks begin." He ended the recording and sent the message toward Earth, knowing it would take 5 days to reach them through the faster-than-light communication network. Trell stayed in the empty room for a long time after, watching the stars through the dome above. Somewhere out there were humans, dangerous, unpredictable Deathworlders who might be their only hope. All he could do now was wait. Admiral Jack Stone stood at the large window of Earth Defense Headquarters, watching ships dock at the orbital station above. The glass was specially made to darken the brightness of Earth's sun, which shone on the blue planet below. "Admiral, we need you in the communication room," said his assistant through the speaker. "Something important has come in." Jack walked quickly through the metal hallways of the station. At 60 years old, he still moved like a much younger man. His gray hair was cut short, and his uniform was perfectly clean as always. In the communication room, 5 officers waited around a large table. Intelligence Officer Ren Wu looked up as Jack entered. "Sir, we'd received this message an hour ago," Ren said, pointing to the screen. "It came through the Deep Space Network." Jack watched the recording of first speaker Trell. The alien looked nothing like a human, with blue-tinted skin, large eyes, and a thin body that would probably break under Earth's gravity. As the message played, Jack's expression became more serious. "Have we confirmed this is real?" he asked when it finished. "Yes, sir," said Ren. "The star charts match our unmapped regions, and we've had reports of unusual activity in that sector for months." Fleet Commander Maya Patel, Jack's second-in-command, studied the data on her tablet. "The Void Dominion sounds like bad news. Look at these attack patterns. They're systematic. They're not just conquering, they're eliminating entire populations." Jack walked around the table slowly. "But why ask us? There must be closer civilizations." "That's the interesting part," said Ren, bringing up more information. "According to their message data packet, we're classified as Deathworlders. They consider Earth an extreme environment, and us, well, dangerous. They're afraid of us," Maya said simply. "But they're more afraid of these void people." Silence filled the room as everyone thought about what this meant. Earth had unified its governments only 30 years ago, after the last war. Their expansion into space had been fast but peaceful. This would be humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and it was a request to fight someone else's war. Jack looked at the faces around him. Opinions. "We don't know these luminary," said Defense Minister Brock. "This could be a trap. Or it could be exactly what they say," argued Maya. "A peaceful species about to be destroyed. If we ignore this, how are we different from these void invaders?" "We have the fleet capacity," said Captain Lee. "The new Defender-class ships could reach their space in 20 days at maximum speed." Jack looked back at the frozen image of Trell on the screen. "They're reaching out because we're tough, because our world made us strong." He nodded slowly. "Prepare a response message. Tell them help is coming." "The Council will need to approve," began the Defense Minister. "We'll get approval," Jack interrupted. "But we're not waiting. Maya, I want 20 ships ready in 48 hours. Captain Lee, you'll coordinate supplies. Ren, get me everything you can find about this region of space." "Sir," Maya said carefully, "what exactly are we telling the Council?" Jack's face hardened as he looked at the star chart, showing the path of destruction left by the Void Dominion. "We're telling them that humanity just found its place in the galaxy. If our strength means we can protect those who can't protect themselves, then that's what we'll do." As the officers hurried to carry out orders, Jack sent a short message back to the luminary. "Help is coming. Hold position. Earth fleet arriving in 25 days." For the first time, humans were going to war among the stars. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of luminary space. 20 warships, black against the stars, moved into formation. The flagship, Resilience, led the way. Twice the size of the others, its hull marked with the blue and white Earth defense symbol. On the main observation deck of the luminary space station, First Speaker Trell and the Council watched the human ships approach. "They came," whispered Elder Vin, her voice filled with both relief and fear. "I did not truly believe they would." "So many ships," said another council member, "and they arrived 5 days earlier than promised." Trell nodded. The humans had surprised them already. "Prepare the welcome party. Remember what we discussed. No sudden movements. Speak clearly. And most importantly, do not show fear." An hour later, a human shuttle docked with the luminary station. The door opened with a hiss of air, and Admiral Jack Stone stepped through, followed by Commander Maya and 4 other humans. They wore simple blue uniforms with small weapons at their sides. The luminary delegation gasped quietly. The humans were taller and more solid than expected. Their skin colors varied from light to dark brown, and their movements seemed quick and powerful even in the lighter gravity of the station. Trell stepped forward and raised his hand in the traditional luminary greeting. "Welcome to Lumina, Admiral Stone. I am First Speaker Trell. We are grateful for your swift response to our message." Jack nodded and extended his hand in the human way. "Thank you for your welcome. We came as soon as we received your call." Trell looked at the offered hand with confusion before carefully reaching out. The human's grip was firm but controlled, as if Jack understood his own strength could hurt the luminary. "Please, join us in the meeting chamber," Trell said, leading the way. In the large room with its curved walls of glowing blue glass, the humans sat across from the Luminary Council. Maya noticed how the aliens seemed nervous, their large eyes constantly watching the humans' every move. "Let me get right to the point," Jack said. "How much time do we have before the Void Dominion arrives?" The directness startled the council. In luminary culture, such important discussions would begin with hours of formal greetings and ceremony. "Approximately 12 days," Trell answered after recovering from his surprise. "Their fleet was last seen near the city system." Jack nodded to Ren, who brought up holographic maps showing the region. "Show us their approach vector and any information you have on their weapons and tactics." For the next hour, the luminaries shared everything they knew about the enemy. The humans asked quick, direct questions that sometimes confused the luminary with their bluntness. "Why do they attack you?" Maya asked finally. Trell's face showed sadness. "The Void Dominion believes only the strong deserve to exist. They see our peaceful nature as weakness, our art and science as useless. They destroy what they cannot use." Jack stood up and walked to the window. From there, he could see the beautiful luminary city in the distance, its towers reaching toward the sky. "We understand facing enemies who want to destroy your way of life," he said quietly. "Humanity has fought its own wars. We know what it means to defend your home." He turned back to the council. "We will help you." Relief spread across the luminary faces, but Trell still looked troubled. "There is something you should know, Admiral," he said. "Some among us feared asking for your help because humans are classified as dangerous. Your world, your nature." Jack smiled slightly. "Don't worry, First Speaker. What makes us dangerous to your enemies is exactly what makes us valuable as your allies." As the meeting ended, both sides knew that an unusual partnership had just begun. The next 7 days passed quickly as humans and Luminary worked together to prepare for the coming attack. Human engineers spread across the Luminary defense stations, amazed by the alien technology they found there. Chief Engineer Dax whistled as he examined the main power core of the largest Luminary station. "This is incredible," he said to his team. "Their energy systems are at least 50 years ahead of ours. But their weapon systems are basic," replied Technical Officer Lena. "It's like they put all their knowledge into building beautiful things and almost nothing into protection." Across the room, a luminary engineer named Mori watched the humans with wide eyes. He had never seen beings who could work so quickly in the hot conditions of the engine room. The temperature was uncomfortable for his people, but the humans barely seemed to notice. "Your people built this station in just 10 years. Dax asked Mori. "It would have taken us 30. Mori nodded. "We build for beauty and function, but—" He looked down. "We never thought we would need to make it strong for war." Dax put a hand on the alien's shoulder, trying to be gentle. "Then we'll help with that part. That's why we're here." On the flagship Resilience, Commander Maya led the tactical planning with Captain Tom's ground forces team. They studied the luminary maps and the limited information about the Void Dominion. "Their ships are larger than ours," Maya noted, pointing to the hologram, "and they outnumber us 3-1. "But they're predictable," Captain Tom said. "Look at these attack patterns. They always hit the center first, then spread out. No surprise moves." A luminary military advisor named Vila, one of the few with any combat experience, watched with growing concern. "Your plan seems unusual," she said carefully. "You want to split your forces." Maya nodded. "Conventional tactics won't work against their numbers. We'll use Earth's old naval warfare techniques, hit-and-run attacks, fake retreats, night operations. Night operations, Vila asked, confused. Space has no night. Captain Tom smiled. It's just an expression. It means attacking from unexpected directions. The luminary still looked troubled. This plan requires your ships to take heavy damage. Some may be destroyed. That's war, Tom said simply. We build our ships knowing some won't come back. This concept seemed to disturb Vila deeply. In the luminary capital city, Admiral Jack met with First Speaker Trell and the Council. The early warning systems had detected void scout ships at the edge of the system. They've seen us, Jack said, and they're moving faster now. They'll arrive in 3 days, not 5. Elder Vin wrung her hands nervously. Can we be ready in time? We have to be, Jack replied. He turned to Trell. We need to evacuate the outer settlements. Move your people to the core worlds. That will cause panic, argued a council member. Better panic than death, Jack said firmly. And we need your scientists to work with ours. Your understanding of energy fields might give us an edge. As the meeting continued, Trell observed the human admiral. In the past week, Jack had slept little, eaten quickly, and worked constantly. Such conditions would exhaust any luminary, but the human showed no signs of slowing down. Your ability to function under stress is remarkable, Trell said when they were alone. Jack smiled tiredly. Earth taught us that. Pressure, danger, difficult conditions, they're part of our history. The very things that made us fear you, Trell realized. The very things that might save you, Jack corrected. Outside the windows, human ships moved into defensive positions around the beautiful luminary world. The coming days would test both species in ways neither had imagined. The Void Dominion fleet appeared at the edge of the luminary system, like a dark cloud against the stars. 50 large warships moved in perfect formation, their black hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. On the bridge of the Resilience, Admiral Jack watched the enemy approach on the main screen. Around him, human officers worked at their stations with focused intensity. All ships report ready, sir, said Commander Maya. Ground forces are in position on the main settlements. Jack nodded. Begin Operation Thunderstorm. 10 human ships broke formation and moved forward, appearing to challenge the much larger Void fleet head-on. The remaining human vessels slipped behind Lumina's third moon, hiding their energy signatures. On the Void command ship, War Leader Drax watched the human vessels with cold curiosity. These are not luminary ships, he noted to his lieutenant. Scan them. High energy readings, reinforced hulls, primitive but powerful weapons, reported the lieutenant. They appear to be from an unregistered world. Drax's face showed no emotion. Irrelevant. They are few. We are many. Begin the standard attack pattern. The Void fleet split into 3 groups, just as Captain Tom had predicted. Their center force moved directly toward the waiting human ships. They took the bait, Maya said, watching from the Resilience. Executing Phase 2. The human ships suddenly accelerated to maximum speed, racing straight toward the center of the Void formation. At the last moment, they scattered in different directions, firing all weapons as they passed through the enemy lines. The unexpected maneuver caught the Void ships by surprise. 3 of their vessels took heavy damage before they could respond. What is this? Drax demanded as his ship shook from a direct hit. These are not standard tactics. As the Void ships turned to pursue, the hidden human vessels emerged from behind the moon, attacking from behind. Now the Void fleet found itself caught in crossfire. Continue the attack, Drax ordered. They cannot withstand our numbers. The space around Lumina erupted in battle. Human ships moved in unpredictable patterns, never staying still long enough to become easy targets. They fought like Earth's ancient fighter planes, diving and rolling through space in ways the rigid Void formations couldn't match. But the Void Dominion had numbers on their side. 2 human ships exploded under concentrated fire. 3 more took heavy damage. On Lumina's surface, Captain Tom led a defense team at the main spaceport as Void landing craft broke through. His soldiers wore heavy combat suits designed for Earth's gravity, making them stronger on the lighter Luminary world. "Hold this position," Tom shouted as Void troops marched forward. "Protect the evacuation ships." The Luminary civilians watched in amazement as the humans fought. Where the Luminary would have surrendered when faced with such odds, the humans seemed to fight harder when things looked worst. In orbit, the Resilience took a direct hit to its engines. The bridge filled with smoke as warning alarms blared. "Sir, engines at 40%, reported an officer. 3 more Void ships approaching." Jack's face was cut and bleeding, but his voice remained calm. "Redirect power from life support. Get us back in the fight." "Life support, sir?" questioned the young officer. "That will drop oxygen levels by 30%. "We can breathe less," Jack said firmly. "Do it." As the battle raged on, the Luminary witnessed something they had never seen before. Beings who would fight through pain, through damage, through impossible odds, not because they enjoyed violence, but because they had decided to protect others. And for the first time, the Void Dominion faced an enemy that didn't break under pressure, because humans had evolved on a world that had been trying to kill them since the day they were born. War Leader Drax stood on the command deck of his flagship, watching the battle with growing frustration. 3 days of fighting, and they had not yet crushed these defenders. "Prepare all remaining ships," he ordered coldly. "We will attack the Luminary homeworld directly. No more of these games." The Void fleet regrouped, forming a massive arrow-shaped formation aimed at Lumina's heart. 30 ships remained, still outnumbering the humans. On the damaged Resilience, Admiral Jack received the urgent message from their scout ships. "They're changing tactics," he told his officers. "They're going for a direct assault on the capital." The bridge was hot, and the air thin as life support remained at minimum levels. Many of the crew wore oxygen masks, but Jack had refused one for himself. "We can't stop that many ships," Commander Maya said honestly. "We've lost too many vessels already." Jack looked at the tactical display. "Then we need a new plan. Get me first speaker Trell." On the planet's surface, Captain Tom and his team were trapped in the science district of the capital city. Void forces had landed nearby and were pushing toward the main research facility. "Hold this street," Tom ordered his soldiers. "We need to keep them away from the labs." The humans had been fighting for almost 72 hours straight. They were tired, injured, and running low on ammunition. But they held their positions as the sounds of enemy vehicles grew closer. Tom's second-in-command, Lieutenant Kai, checked their remaining weapons. "We can hold maybe another hour, Captain." Tom nodded. "That's all they need." He pointed to the large research building behind them where human and Luminary scientists were working frantically. Inside the facility, Chief Engineer Dax worked alongside Morty and a team of Luminary scientists. They had combined human weapons technology with Luminary energy field research to create something new. "Will it work?" Maury asked, his hands shaking from exhaustion. Dax connected the final power coupling. "It has to." In orbit, the Resilience moved to intercept the Void formation despite its damaged engines. 7 other human ships, all that remained operational, formed a defensive line. "All ships, this is Admiral Stone," Jack broadcast. "Hold position until my mark. Everything depends on this." The Void fleet accelerated toward them, weapons charging. They would be in firing range in less than 5 minutes. On the main screen, first speaker Trell appeared. "Admiral, the device is ready, but our scientists say it needs to be at the center of their fleet to work." Jack nodded. "Understood." He turned to Maya. "Take command. I'm going to pilot the drop ship myself." Maya's eyes widened. "Sir, that's a suicide mission." "Maybe," Jack said, already moving toward the door. "But someone has to deliver the package." Minutes later, a small human ship launched from the Resilience, carrying Admiral Jack and the device developed by the combined science teams. The tiny vessel slipped between enemy ships as the battle erupted around it. In the capital city, Captain Tom's soldiers cheered as the luminary defense shield suddenly strengthened, powered by the new technology. The shield expanded, pushing back the Void ground forces. In space, Jack's ship reached the center of the enemy formation. As Void weapons locked onto his vessel, he activated the device. A blue-white energy field erupted from the small ship, expanding rapidly in a perfect sphere. When it touched the Void vessels, their weapons and engines immediately shut down. War Leader Drax watched in shock as his mighty fleet drifted powerless in space. For the first time in his life, he felt fear. The battle wasn't over, but the turning point had come. The Deathworlders had done what the Void Dominion had thought impossible. They had changed the rules of the fight. 3 weeks after the battle, the Great Hall of the Luminary Council looked very different. The damage from Void attacks had been repaired, but now humans sat among the Luminary leaders, discussing the future. Commander Maya, now acting admiral after Jack's rescue, stood near a large window. The special pod that had protected Jack during his mission had been recovered from space, and he was healing in the medical bay. The last Void ships left Luminary space yesterday, Maya reported to the gathered council. Our scouts followed them to make sure they didn't regroup. First Speaker Trell nodded. And the prisoners? Being treated according to galactic law, Maya assured him. War Leader Drax will face justice for the worlds he destroyed. The room fell silent for a moment as everyone remembered the cost of victory. 8 human ships lost, hundreds of soldiers fallen, and many Luminary civilians killed in the attacks. But compared to complete destruction, the price had been worth paying. Elder Vin, who had once feared the humans most, spoke up. The Luminary Council has prepared a formal treaty. She pushed a glowing tablet forward. We offer our knowledge, our resources, and our friendship in return for continued protection. Maya looked at the treaty. Earth will be honored by this alliance. Outside the hall, Captain Tom walked with Morty through the rebuilding city. Tom's arm was in a sling, and his face showed new scars, but he moved with purpose. Your people work fast, Tom commented, watching Luminary repair crews fix a damaged building. Where humans would have used metal supports and rough patches, the Luminary seemed to make the broken parts grow back together like living things. We build, Mori said simply. You fight. Together, we are stronger. Tom nodded. That's the idea behind alliances. They stopped at a small park where Luminary children played. The children had created a game where some pretended to be humans protecting the others from imaginary Void monsters. Tom smiled watching them. They're not afraid of us anymore, he observed. They see you differently now, Mori explained. Not as dangerous beings, but as guardians. In the medical bay, Admiral Jack sat up in bed as First Speaker Trell entered the room. How are you feeling, Admiral? Trell asked. Better every day, Jack replied. Your medical technology is impressive. Trell sat beside the bed. We have received 17 messages from other worlds, he said. Word has spread about what happened here. Other peaceful species facing threats want to join our alliance. Jack raised an eyebrow. They want humans to protect them too. They want what we have discovered, Trell said. That the universe needs both builders and defenders. That what makes a species strong isn't just their weapons, but their willingness to use their strength for others. Jack thought about this. For thousands of years on Earth, we fought each other. We thought our ability to survive harsh conditions made us violent by nature. He looked out the window at the beautiful Luminary city. Maybe we just needed the right cause. A young Luminary aide entered the room. Excuse me, First Speaker. We've received a distress call from the Telluri system. They report Void ships in their territory. Jack and Trell looked at each other. How soon can our ships be ready? Jack asked. Our ships, Trell corrected. The new combined fleet can depart in 2 days. And this time, we will send Luminary scientists with you. Jack smiled. From feared Deathworlders to galactic peacekeepers, Not what we expected when we answered your SOS. As they began planning the mission, a new chapter was starting. Throughout the galaxy, the word spread. When the defenseless cry for help, the Deathworlders of Earth will come, and they bring not just weapons, but justice. The greatest strength of humans wasn't that they were born in a harsh world, but that they refused to let the universe remain as harsh as their home had been. The night sky above Earth's Space Command Center was clear when the signal came through. It was not like any message they had received before. Lieutenant Dave Reed was on duty, his tired eyes fixed on the monitoring screen. At first, he thought it was just noise from a distant star, but then the patterns became clear. "Sir," he called to his supervisor, "I think you need to see this." Captain Robert Brown walked over, coffee in hand. His eyes widened as he looked at the screen. "Is that coming from Andromeda?" "Yes, sir. And it's definitely not natural. It's a message." The captain put down his cup and pressed the emergency alert button. Within 15 minutes, the room filled with officers and scientists. They worked for hours to decode the strange signal. When they finally did, a hush fell over the room. The message showed videos of destruction. The peaceful world of tall, slender beings with blue skin was under attack. Ships black as night filled their skies, dropping weapons that turned cities to dust. The blue aliens were running, screaming, dying. And they were asking for help. Admiral John Parker was woken at 3 a.m. with the news. By 6 a.m., he sat in the Global Defense Council chamber with leaders from all major nations. "The Luminary are a species we've never contacted before," explained Dr. Lisa Wells, head of alien studies. "From what we can tell, they are peaceful. They have never developed strong weapons, and now they face total destruction from what they call the Void Dominion. And why should we care about a war in another galaxy?" asked the Russian representative. Admiral Parker stood up. His tall frame cast a shadow across the table. "Because if this Void Dominion finishes with the Luminary, they might come for us next, and because it's the right thing to do." The room filled with angry voices. Some wanted to help. Others thought it was too risky. Earth had only been part of the galactic community for 30 years. Their ships were strong, but no human had ever traveled to Andromeda. Finally, after 12 hours of debate, they voted. Earth would send help. Admiral Parker walked out of the meeting with a heavy weight on his shoulders. He had 48 hours to gather the biggest fleet in human history. He called his best officer first. "Commander James West, report to headquarters immediately." West arrived within the hour. He was the best ship captain Earth had, with dark eyes that missed nothing and more battle experience than anyone else in the fleet. "You've seen the signal?" Parker asked. West nodded. "Yes, sir. Terrible business. I need you to lead the rescue fleet. We're calling in every ship we have." "Sir, that's over 300 ships. No one has ever commanded a fleet that size." "That's why I need you, James. The Council is scared. Half of them think we're sending our ships to die." West looked at the screen where the message from the Luminary still played. A child with blue skin cried beside its dead parent. "When do we leave?" he asked. 3 days. We're loading all ships with the new long-range weapons. The journey will take 2 months using the warp gates." West straightened his uniform. "I'll start calling in the captains." As he walked out, Parker called after him. "James, the Luminary called us Deathworlders in their message. They're shocked we're willing to help." West smiled slightly. "Well, sir, they're about to be more shocked when they see what humans from a high-gravity planet can do in a fight." For the next 3 days, ships arrived from all human colonies. The massive fleet gathered in Earth's orbit, visible from the ground as moving stars. Humanity was going to war, not for themselves, but for strangers in need from a distant galaxy. The Deathworlder's fleet was mobilizing. The main launch bay of Earth's orbital command was busier than it had ever been. Ships of all sizes docked and undocked in a carefully planned dance. Engineers rushed to load weapons and supplies. Medical teams prepared field hospitals. And at the center of it all stood Commander James West, looking at the massive board showing all the ships joining his fleet. 325 ships now, sir, reported Lieutenant Emma Davis. She handed him a tablet with the latest numbers. That's every combat-ready vessel in the human territories. West nodded, his face serious. And crew. Over 50,000 volunteers. We had to turn people away. West wasn't surprised. The luminary distress signal had been shared across all human worlds. People were angry about what they saw. Humans might fight among themselves, but they didn't stand by while others suffered. The flagship has arrived, sir, Emma said, pointing to a new dot on the screen. West looked up to see the massive ship moving into position. The Defender was the largest warship humans had ever built. Its dark hull gleamed in the sunlight, weapon ports closed but ready. This would be his command center for the mission. Time to go aboard, West said. The shuttle ride to the Defender was short. As West stepped onto the bridge, the crew stood at attention. Captain Marcus Lee, the ship's commander, saluted. "Welcome aboard, sir. The Defender is ready for your orders." West nodded. "At ease, everyone. We have work to do." For the next 24 hours, West met with the captains of the major ships. They gathered in the Defender's war room, looking at maps of Andromeda and the known territories of the Luminary. "The journey will take 58 days using the warp gates," West explained. "We'll exit here at the edge of luminary space. From there, we'll need to find survivors and assess the situation." Captain Anna Jones of the fast attack ship Thunder raised her hand. "Sir, what do we know about these Void Dominion attackers?" "Not enough," West admitted. The Luminary described them as hunters of worlds. Their ships are biological in nature, growing rather than being built. Their weapons seem to focus on destruction rather than conquest. The room was quiet as this sank in. They were heading toward an enemy unlike any humans had faced before. Dr. Tom Wilson, head of weapons development, stood up next. He was a small man with bright eyes and nervous energy. "I've been working on something that might help," he said. "We call it the Prometheus Protocol. It's a new type of energy weapon that targets biological matter. If these void ships are truly organic, this could be effective." West nodded. "Get it installed on as many ships as possible before we leave." As the meeting ended, West stayed behind with Captain Lee and Dr. Wilson. "What aren't you telling the others?" Lee asked quietly. West touched a button, and a new image appeared on the screen. It showed Earth, seen from far away. "This was in the last part of the Luminary message," West said. "They believe Earth is already on the Void Dominion's list of targets. We're not just saving them. We might be saving ourselves." The three men looked at the image of their home planet, small and blue and vulnerable. "Then we better not fail," Wilson said. 2 days later, the fleet was ready. Ships formed a line stretching farther than the eye could see. On Earth and all human colonies, people watched on screens as the greatest force humanity had ever assembled prepared to leave. Admiral Parker's voice came through on all channels. "Deathworlder's fleet, you carry the hopes of Earth and the Luminary. Go with courage. Return with victory." With that, the ships began to move, one by one entering the warp gate in a flash of light, heading toward a distant galaxy and an unknown enemy. The assembly of giants was complete. The real challenge was about to begin. The journey through space began with a brilliant flash as the first ships entered the warp gate. One by one, the massive fleet disappeared from Earth's orbit, leaving only a trail of light behind. Commander West stood on the bridge of the Defender, watching the stars blur around them as they entered warp speed. "All ships have successfully entered the warp tunnel, sir," reported Lieutenant Emma. "Estimated travel time: 58 days to reach Andromeda." West nodded. "Good. Now comes the hard part. 2 months in deep space with 50,000 nervous people." Captain Lee smiled slightly. "I've arranged for all ship captains to meet daily by video link. Keeping everyone informed should help with the tension." And what about the crew? West asked. Training exercises start tomorrow. If we're going to face an unknown enemy, everyone needs to be sharp. The first week passed without problems. The fleet moved in perfect formation through the warp tunnel, a human-made path through space that allowed travel faster than light. But by the second week, reports of fights between crew members reached West's desk. It's to be expected, said Dr. Maya Clark, the fleet's head psychologist. We're asking people to risk their lives for aliens they've never met. Some are having doubts. West thought for a moment. Arrange a fleet-wide address. Everyone needs to hear this directly from me. The next day, every screen on every ship showed West's face. He looked tired but determined. I know many of you are wondering why we're here, he began. Why humans should fight and possibly die for the luminary. Some say it's not our fight. He paused, then pressed a button. The screen changed to show new images from the luminary distress signal that had not been shared publicly. This is what the Void Dominion does after they conquer a planet, West said quietly. The images showed entire worlds being taken apart. Massive ships pulled resources from planets until nothing remained but empty shells. The luminary were not the first, West continued, and they won't be the last. We found star maps in their message. Earth is on the Dominion's path. This is not just their fight. It's ours too. The mood of the fleet changed after the address. Training became more focused. Engineers worked harder on Dr. Wilson's Prometheus weapons. Everyone understood what was at stake. By the fourth week, the fleet had settled into a rhythm. On the Defender, West worked with his tactical team, planning for every possible scenario they might face. We need to be prepared for the worst, he told them. If their ships are truly biological, they might be able to repair themselves quickly. The Prometheus protocol should help with that, Dr. Wilson said. The latest tests show it disrupts cell growth. It should prevent their ships from healing. In the fifth week, they received a new message from the luminary. It was weak and broken, but clear enough to understand. More of their worlds had fallen. Their remaining forces had retreated to their home planet. They were running out of time. West called an emergency meeting with all ship captains. We need to increase our speed, he said. The luminary won't last another month. Captain Anna Jones spoke up. Sir, pushing the warp drives could be dangerous. We could lose ships. West looked at each captain's face before answering. I'm not ordering anyone to take this risk. Any ship that wants to maintain current speed can do so. The captains looked at each other. Then, one by one, they nodded. We're with you, sir, Jones said. All the way. The next day, the fleet increased power to their warp drives. The journey that was supposed to take 58 days would now take 45. As they raced toward Andromeda, West looked out at the blur of stars and wondered what they would find when they arrived. But one thing was certain. The Deathworlders were coming, and they were ready for a fight. The human fleet dropped out of warp space at the edge of luminary territory. The sudden return to normal space made the ships shudder. On the bridge of the Defender, Commander West gripped his chair as the view screens came back online. Status report, he ordered. All ships accounted for, sir, Captain Lee replied. Minimal damage from the high-speed warp. We made it. The crew fell silent as the main screen showed what lay before them. The luminary system was a battlefield. The remains of ships floated everywhere. A nearby planet glowed red with fires visible from space. Any signs of life? West asked quietly. Lieutenant Emma worked at her station. Yes, sir. We're picking up signals from the fourth planet. It appears to be the luminary homeworld. There are still cities standing there. And the enemy? No sign of Void Dominion ships in the immediate area, Emma reported. But there's heavy damage throughout the system. West made his decision quickly. Send a message to the luminary. Tell them we've arrived and request coordinates for a safe landing zone. I want to meet them in person. Within an hour, they had their answer. A weak signal guided them to a hidden base on the night side of the Luminary homeworld. West selected a small team to go with him. Captain Lee, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Clark, and 10 security officers. They took a shuttle down to the surface. The landing zone was a crater surrounded by tall silver trees. As the shuttle doors opened, West saw his first luminary in person. They were tall and slender with blue skin that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. Their eyes were large and had no pupils, just pools of silver. One luminary stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Val. Welcome to what remains of our world." West was surprised to hear perfect English. "You speak our language." "We learned it from your broadcasts," Val explained. "We have been studying Earth for many years. That is why we ask you for help. You are different from other species we know." Val led them to an underground base. The walls were made of a smooth white material that glowed softly. Luminary moved quickly around them, many injured, all looking tired. "This is all that remains of our government," Val said. "The Void Dominion attacked without warning 6 months ago. They have destroyed most of our colonies." "Why?" Dr. Clark asked. "What do they want?" "Resources. They strip planets completely. And they see other life forms as food." The humans looked at each other with concern. "We brought weapons and ships," West said. "We're ready to help fight." Val's large eyes blinked slowly. "You are very different from us. The Luminary are peaceful. We have never developed powerful weapons. But you come from Earth, what our scientists call a death world." "A death world?" Dr. Wilson asked. "A planet with high gravity, extreme weather, and dangerous life forms," Val explained. "Most intelligent species evolve on gentle worlds. But you humans are strong because your world tried to kill you every day. Your bodies and minds are built for survival." As they talked, an alarm suddenly sounded. The luminary rushed into the room. "Ambassador, Void Dominion scouts have been detected entering the system." West turned to Captain Lee. "Get back to the fleet. Prepare for combat." But Val held up a hand. "Wait, this is an opportunity. If you could capture one of their scout ships, we could learn much about their weaknesses." West thought for a moment. "A trap. Yes, we could do that." He touched his communicator. "Emma, are you tracking those scout ships?" "Yes, sir. 3 small vessels, heading toward the 5th planet. Prepare a surprise. I want those ships intact if possible." As the humans returned to the shuttle, Val called after them. "Commander West, be careful. The Void Dominion has consumed many worlds. They are deadly." West nodded. "So are we, Ambassador. So are we." The captured Void Dominion scout ship hung in the docking bay of the Defender like a dark, twisted creature. Its hull was not metal but something organic, black and ridged, like the shell of a massive insect. Security teams stood guard around it, weapons ready. "Are you sure this is safe?" Captain Lee asked as West prepared to enter the alien vessel. "No," West admitted, "but we need to understand what we're fighting." Dr. Wilson joined them, carrying the case of equipment. "The ship is definitely alive in some way. It's producing heat and seems to be breathing." The 3 men, along with a team of scientists and soldiers, entered through a hole cut in the side of the captured ship. Inside, the air was warm and damp. The walls pulsed slightly, like the inside of a giant heart. "This is incredible," Dr. Wilson whispered, scanning everything with his devices. "The ship is one large organism." They moved deeper into the vessel until they reached what seemed to be the control room. There, secured by human guards, were 3 Void Dominion soldiers, the first humans had ever seen up close. They were tall, with gray skin stretched tight over sharp bones. Where their eyes should be, they had only smooth skin with small bumps. Their mouths were wide with many small, sharp teeth, but most disturbing were the metal and organic parts growing from their bodies. Weapons fused directly to their arms, and technology embedded in their skulls. "Are they communicating?" West asked, noticing how the creatures moved their heads in unison despite being separated. "Yes," said Dr. Clark, who had joined them. "Brain scans show identical patterns. They share a hive mind. They're not individuals like us." One of the creatures suddenly spoke, its voice a harsh clicking sound translated by a computer. "You will die. All will be consumed." West stepped closer. "Why are you attacking the luminary? Why destroy entire worlds? Growth requires food. Worlds are food. You are food." Dr. Wilson pulled West aside, excitement in his eyes despite the grim situation. "Commander, I've found something. Their technology. These bioweapons, they can't handle certain types of radiation." "What type?" "The kind common on Earth, but rare in space. Our sun produces it, and our atmosphere normally blocks it. They've never evolved to deal with it." West's eyes lit up with understanding. "So the Prometheus Protocol should be even more effective than I thought," Wilson finished. "We can modify it to emit exactly the right frequencies." A loud alarm suddenly blared through the ship. Lieutenant Emma's voice came through West's communicator. "Sir, we're detecting a large fleet entering the system. At least 3,000 Void Dominion vessels. They've come for their scouts," West said, "and to finish off the luminary." Back on the bridge, West found Ambassador Val waiting with several other luminari. "Our sensors detected the Dominion fleet," Val said. "They will reach our homeworld in 6 hours. Do you have any ships left?" West asked. "A few hundred. Small ones, mostly. Not designed for war." West turned to his tactical team. "I want the Prometheus Protocol installed on every ship that can carry it. Have Dr. Wilson show the luminary engineers how to modify their weapons too." Captain Lee looked troubled. "Sir, we're outnumbered 10 to 1. "Yes, but we have something they don't expect," West replied. "Deathworlders who understand radiation." For the next 5 hours, the fleet prepared. Human engineers worked alongside luminary to modify their weapons. The Prometheus Protocol was loaded into missiles and energy cannons. Every ship took position in a formation designed by West himself. As the enemy approached, West addressed the combined fleet. "Today we fight not just for the luminary, but for all free worlds. The Void Dominion thinks other life exists only to be consumed. We're about to show them how wrong they are." The luminary ambassador stood beside him on the bridge, watching as the enemy drew near. "In all our history," Val said softly, "we never imagined we would fight alongside beings from a death world. Perhaps that is exactly what the universe needed." West nodded, his eyes fixed on the approaching swarm of black ships. The enemy was about to discover what happened when they threatened a species that had evolved on the most dangerous planet they had ever encountered. The silence before battle hung heavy on the bridge of the Defender. Commander West watched the enemy fleet approach on the main screen. The Void Dominion ships moved like a swarm of insects, thousands of dark shapes against the stars. "All ships report ready, sir," Lieutenant Emma said. "Prometheus Protocol is active across the fleet." West nodded. "And the luminary ships?" "In position behind our front lines, as ordered. Their weapons have been modified, but their shields are weak." "Then we shield them," West said simply. He pressed the fleet-wide communication button. "All ships, this is Commander West. The enemy outnumbers us, but they don't outmatch us. Remember your training. Remember Earth. And remember why we're here. Engage on my mark." He paused, taking one last look at the tactical display. Mark. The human fleet surged forward. The front line of heavy warships opened fire first, their Prometheus weapons sending pulses of radiation toward the enemy. Where the pulses hit, the organic hulls of the void ships began to blister and crack. "It's working," Dr. Wilson said, watching the data on his screen. "Their biotechnology can't handle the radiation." But the Void Dominion quickly adapted. Their ships split into smaller groups, trying to surround the human fleet. From their hulls, they launched thousands of small attack pods. "Incoming," Captain Lee shouted. "All point defense systems, fire." The space around the human ships lit up as laser systems shot down the incoming pods. But there were too many. Dozens got through, attaching to human ships like parasites. "They're boarding vessels," Emma reported. "The Roosevelt and the Beijing report fighting in their corridors." West's face hardened. "Send the message to all ships. Protocol Deathworld is now active." Throughout the fleet, human soldiers moved to defend their ships. Unlike the Luminary, humans had evolved on a planet where danger lurked everywhere. Their bodies were built for fighting, stronger, faster, and more durable than most species in the galaxy. The Void soldiers, used to easy victories over peaceful races, now faced creatures just as fierce as they were. On the Defender itself, 3 boarding pods breached the lower decks. Security teams rushed to respond. West stayed on the bridge, directing the larger battle, but he could hear the fighting through the ship's communication system. "They're retreating on Deck 12, a security officer reported. "They can't handle our weapons in close quarters." The battle in space continued for hours. Ships on both sides took heavy damage. The human fleet fought in a tight formation, protecting the Luminary vessels behind them. The Void Dominion seemed endless, their ships pressing forward despite losses. "We can't keep this up forever," Captain Lee said quietly to West. "Our ammunition is running low." West studied the tactical display, looking for a weakness. Then he saw it. "There," he pointed. "Their ships move in patterns around that larger vessel. I think it's their command ship." "It's heavily defended," Lee noted. "Yes, but if we could disable it." West turned to communications. "Get me Captain Anna Jones of the Thunder." Anna's face appeared on screen, her bridge filled with smoke behind her. "West, we're a bit busy here. I need your ship for a special mission. How fast can you still go?" She smiled, understanding immediately. "The Thunder is damaged, but she's still the fastest ship in the fleet." "Good, I'm sending coordinates. Take your ship here, behind this moon. Then make a run at full speed toward this target." He sent the data. "We'll clear a path for you." 20 minutes later, the Thunder shot out from behind the moon, engines blazing. The human fleet suddenly shifted formation, focusing all firepower on creating a corridor through the enemy ships. The Thunder raced through, dodging debris and enemy fire. "She's approaching the target," Emma reported. "The Dominion ships are trying to intercept." "All ships, cover the Thunder," West ordered. The Thunder streaked toward the Void command ship, releasing a special missile just before pulling away. The missile, containing the most powerful version of the Prometheus protocol, struck the command ship center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive vessel began to convulse, its organic hull rippling as radiation spread through its systems. "The command network is disrupting," Dr. Wilson shouted. "The hive mind is losing cohesion." Across the battlefield, Void Dominion ships suddenly began moving erratically. Some stopped firing. Others crashed into each other. "Push forward," West ordered. "Don't give them time to recover." The combined human and Luminary fleet surged ahead, pressing their advantage. The battle had turned. The battle was over, but the war was not. Commander West stood on the bridge of the Defender, looking at the scattered remains of the Void Dominion fleet. Nearly 1,000 enemy ships had been destroyed. Hundreds more had fled, jumping to warp speed in different directions. "Damage report," West ordered, his voice tired but firm. "We lost 57 ships," Captain Lee replied. "Another 83 have serious damage. Casualties are still being counted, but early numbers suggest over 3,000 dead." West closed his eyes briefly. Each loss felt personal, but he knew it could have been much worse. "And the Luminary homeworld?" "Safe for now. But the enemy is regrouping. Our scans show they're heading toward their home system." Ambassador Val entered the bridge, accompanied by several Luminary leaders. Their normally bright blue skin looked pale, but their silver eyes shone with gratitude. "Commander, you have done what we thought impossible," Val said. "You saved our remaining worlds, but we fear the Dominion will return." West nodded. Yes, they will. Which is why we need to end this threat completely. He turned to the tactical display, showing the path of the retreating enemy ships. We've tracked their course. They're heading to this system, about 3 days' journey from here. I believe it's their homeworld. Captain Lee looked concerned. Sir, our fleet is damaged. Our supplies are low. Going after them now would be risky. Not going after them would be riskier, West replied. We need to end this threat while they're still weak. The bridge fell silent as everyone considered his words. Then Lieutenant Emma spoke up. I volunteer to continue, sir. Earth sent us to help the Luminary. The job isn't done yet. One by one, other officers voiced their agreement. West looked at them with pride. Captain Lee, prepare the fleet. We leave in 6 hours. Any ship too damaged to continue will escort the wounded back to Earth. 230 ships from the original fleet continued the mission. They were joined by 100 Luminary vessels, now properly armed with human technology. Together, they followed the enemy to its lair. What they found shocked even the battle-hardened humans. The Void Dominion's home system contained dozens of planets, all stripped of resources. Around these dead worlds orbited massive processing stations, where captured species were kept in terrible conditions. They're farming them, Dr. Clark said in horror, looking at the scans. Using them for food and labor. West made a decision instantly. Launch rescue operations to all stations. Free everyone you can. For 2 days, the fleet worked to release prisoners and destroy Dominion facilities. They found members of 30 different alien species, some that even the Luminary had never encountered. With each rescue, their understanding of the Dominion grew. It's not a natural species, Dr. Wilson explained, after examining data from the prisoners. They were created as weapons long ago by a race that then disappeared. The Dominion kept growing, consuming, expanding without purpose except survival. Finally, they located the Central Hive, a massive structure at the heart of the system where the Dominion's leaders lived. West gathered the captains of all ships for one final briefing. This ends today, he said simply. We hit the Hive with everything we have left. The final battle was fierce but quick. The Dominion, already weakened from their earlier defeat, could not withstand the combined might of humans and their new allies. When the Central Hive fell, the remaining enemy ships simply shut down, their controlling intelligence gone. 3 months after leaving Earth, the fleet began its journey home. They traveled slowly, mindful of their damaged ships. With them came representatives from all the species they had freed, eager to establish relations with the humans who had saved them. As Earth came into view on the main screen, West stood with Ambassador Val and the other alien leaders. Your people are remarkable, Val said. You evolved on a world that tried to kill you daily. It made you strong. But you chose to use that strength to protect, not conquer. West smiled. That's what being human means. We fight hardest for those who cannot fight for themselves. The fleet received a hero's welcome on Earth. Crowds cheered as the ships descended. But the greatest change was invisible. Earth was no longer alone in the universe. Thanks to the bravery of its fleet, humanity had found its place among the stars as protectors rather than conquerors. The Deathworlders had become the guardians of the galaxy.